By May 29, it will be exactly 1 year ever since the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with his cabinet are in power. A lot of people have been going through the past 1 year of the president, including his ministers, which we saw from last week Thursday. There have been evaluations to see what they have achieved in their various ministries. Good afternoon and welcome to Nigeria Now, where we look at some of the issues that are happening presently in the country and those we feel is very pressing, which we need to discuss on the show. Do remember that you can be part of the show by actually joining us via Facebook and YouTube. Drop your comment, your views on any of the issue we will be discussing this afternoon. I am Selela Shadasham and I'll bring the program with Rachel Tanti. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon,
How you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. All right, let us get straight into the business of the day, starting with what Sarah is saying. It's already a year in office. And here we're seeing Sarah is saying, you know what, for the past 1 year you've been in power. We need you, your vice, your ministers, and also others. You need to encourage them to actually declare their assets. Because we know that one of the key things that are needed when you get into power, before getting there, Nigerians need to know what assets you have. And then even after a period of maybe a year or dependent, you also have to declare your assets for transparency, accountability, and so that we just, you know, the issue of rule of law, check and balance as well, because check and balance doesn't just happen between the three arms of government, but as well as citizens, we need to check and be sure that, you know what, the government are on check, and then we need to know whatever they need to do. So therefore, it's a way to actually demonstrate their own commitment to democracy, as well as, you know, just like I said, accountability and transparency. So we're seeing that Serap is actually asking for that. We know that the whole talk from last week down to this week will be trying to kind of evaluate the first 1 year of the president. I mean, in the morning, we're seeing some of the activities that have been marked to actually show the 1 year. We've seen him yesterday trying to launch the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. And then starting from tomorrow, we're seeing various projects as well in the FCT that he will be visiting down till June. So it's a long weeks of, you know, trying to see what the president have been able to accomplish for the past 1 year he has been in power.
I like the fact that Serap is very ambitious regarding accountability and transparency in Nigeria and calling everybody to answer for their actions and what is expected to be seen done. However, I'm very sure that Serap knows that this is one of those things that it's not going to go far. We know by the way of which asset declaration works is before you're being sworn into office. Now the question is, did President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declare his asset before going into office? The answer is no. There was no declaration of asset. A matter of fact, we haven't seen our president declaring asset. The past administration, Muhammad Buhari did not declare his asset. The one president that we were 100% sure of that publicly declared his assets for the knowing of Nigeria was President Yar'Adua. And that is the president that Nigerians knew that this man came out publicly and let the whole nation know that this is my asset before going into the into office. Now, 1 year, Sele, is good enough time for a man in power to acquire a lot of assets legally or illegally, fraudulently, embezzling funds and all of that. Why I'm saying so is that if we do not know what his asset was before going into office, if he declares it now, what good is it to us? We can't tell.
Because we don't know what it was.
Because we didn't know what it was before. Where Serap could have fought for this was way before entering into office. Then now it will be a build-up, a continuity, a check, you know, check and balance, as you have mentioned, concerning, okay, President, before you came into office, your account balance was 100 million. Well, now we've done, it's time for another asset declaration, and we're seeing 500 million, Mr. President, sir. Can you explain, by virtue of your salary, your wage, your allowances, and all of that, the most you can have, if we want to believe that you're not spending it because you're the president, everything comes out from the pocket of the country by virtue of all of these things, well, you are supposed to fairly have 150 million, that is 50 million added to what you had stepping into the office. But we don't have all of these things in place. We don't have it. So what are we going to use to make sure that our president is declaring an asset that is truly his, not what he has acquired now that he is in office? And that is the challenge for me. That is the challenge as it is now, because we do not know before now. And that is why I said nothing, honestly, Selen, nothing can be done about this. I honestly feel, thank you for Serap and their effort and all of that, but I feel that this one in particular, Serap know that they are not going to make headway with it. This is not something that Nigerians will support. We know we've supported a lot of things in the past. When Serap asks questions, do this, and Nigerians will be like, yes, we need to know. But when it comes to this one, how do we go about it when the time that we should have done something about it that will be significant now in the future, nothing was done about it? However, there is need for transparency and accountability. We will not, for example, say we will not ask questions. We are looking at a budget that is very high. We're looking at a budget of 27 trillion, Sele. What that means is that by 2025, Tinubu's administration need to let us see what these trillions of naira have done. If you do not do it, we are not going to wait. Like what happened with the ways and means, Sele. When you think of our ways and means, it's hurtful on a lot of levels. Seeing that kind of money, the central bank, the only thing we heard from them is it has been sorted out. How? I'm looking forward that come next year, Sarah will ask President Tinubu, this was our budget for 2024, 2025. Now you are about to present another budget. We want to see 50 billion student loan scheme. How many students access this thing? And did this 50 billion go out there? We need to see, okay, 9.9 trillion was being given as personnel cost and all of that. We need to see all of these things. How much is left for our debt servicing and all of that. We're seeing that there might be a need for supplementary budget. When it comes, there's no even account for the previous supplementary budget that was made for the last quarter of 2023. This is where we need accountability. We don't need to wait till the Tinubu's administration is over. Then we start asking questions. When we know we won't get answers, we won't recover, there will be no evidence or proof of anything. Let the right thing be done where it is. If not, later on when you are crying, it will be too late, because there's nothing that can be done about it.
Honestly, crying over spilled milk won't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I love the way in which you're taking this whole discussion, Rachel, because just like you said, on every level we're going to look at it. This is not the time that we were supposed to be having or asking the presidency and its cabinet, I mean, even including our governors, ministers as well.
Yeah.
This is not a time. But I believe that, yes, we didn't do it last year, but I feel it might not really be that late to get it now, because by next year, we should be hoping. I was even hoping that, you know what, for declaration of asset left to me, quarterly, we should be checking what you've achieved, or every twice a year, we should check what you're able to do. No wonder we're seeing that a number of ministers still did. We're probing. We have the issue of the former Minister of Aviation. Till date, we are looking at what did Sirika do with the money that was meant for the Nigerian Air. I always talk about the Minister of Power under the Olusegun Obasanjo regime. So these are some of the things that, you know what, because we fail to do certain things now, we have to start probing issues that we should have actually proven all of these. And I hope that we'll take a lead from other developed countries, the way they handle certain things, especially when it comes to funding.
Yes.
Because we know of other countries whereby, I mean, even as the president of a country, there are certain things that are demanded. And this is where Nigerians will ask, what body is starts with the responsibility to make sure you know what before you are being sworn into office, declare your asset, or you will not be sworn into office. Whose responsibility is that to make sure that you do that?
Seller.
Just the way we're asking INEC, why did you fail to do all your work by making sure you know what whatever pre-election issues that are supposed to be handled were handled? Why did you register these parties? That is to say you didn't check. All of this, no wonder we're having certain things that should be tackled are being tackled presently.
True.
So just like we said, I mean, this is a way to actually promote accountability. We keep saying, because I believe that if the president is able to declare his asset, it won't be a big deal for the ministers. It won't be a big deal for our senators. It won't be a big deal for our governors as well. Because they will feel that leadership by example. He has declared his asset, just like you said. Imagine we're talking about over 16 years ago was the last time we had a president that was willing to declare his asset. So why have the rest failed to do that? I think was it last year or last year we saw where one of our peoples were able to capture the issue of declaration of asset, where we saw that the various precedents that have failed to do that. So just like we said, we're looking forward to, you know what, a system whereby you don't even need to ask the president. Willingly, the president will tell you, this is the asset I have, both in and outside the country. These are the number of kids I have. This is where they are. On all of those questions, I mean, so Nigerians don't have to point a finger and say, this is what is happening. Our funds is being diverted to personal pockets and all of that. So we'll just hope that, you know what, just like you said, it's a good gesture coming from Sarah. But beyond today, what will be done about it? I think that is the question Nigerians are asking, and they are hoping to get an answer. Now, still talking about accountability, we have been talking about the issue of local government autonomy, Rachel, for as long as I can remember. This is an issue that was being brought to the limelight far back 2 years. In fact, before the 2 years where the House actually passed that bill, we saw whereby it has been going through various bills for a number of years before finally it was being signed by the Ninth House of Assembly. Now, after the signing, or after the passing of that, it was expected that the various House of Assemblies at the state level will be able to do something to make sure that, you know what, henceforth, we're going to pass this local government autonomy. Local government need to be on their own, because we're having 3 tiers of government. We have the federal, we have the state, we have the local, and they are equally important. But over the years, something that we have seen is the fact that the local government has been treated like a second class. They do not have say on what is done, and yet we keep seeing every month allocation is being sent to federal, state, and local government areas. Now, I think was it last week or so where we were discussing, where senators came out to say, you know what, the president needs to step into action, because we've seen that a number of governors have failed to conduct elections at the local government areas, therefore having caretaker committee. I know there's little or nothing caretakers committee can do, because who will you hold accountable when certain funds are being diverted? They don't even have a standing office. Because some of them have their personal business, they just actually serving there. And so it's easier for money to be, I mean, the issue of corruption to creep in and all of that. And that is where we're seeing that, you know what, the federal government is suing the entire 36 governors. So this case, we'll be hearing it by Thursday. I think that's May 30th, where the court will have to give what they feel about the issue. I think we've seen a number of states that are making attempts towards that, but I think more than half of the states we have in this country are yet to implement the issue of this local government autonomy, and it's sad on every level. I just hope that that was not the case presently.
So that when you see a country that is developed, it's being governed by laws and constitutions. So like, it will surprise you to see that as little as what happens to a dog is in a constitution. That is when you would see an economy, a country, a government, a system that grows. That no matter how little a problem might be, even a problem as little as you probably hitting your leg on a stone, there is probably a law for it, because they know it could be a problem. Who kept the stone there? How did the stone get there? Well, the stone being there have led you to spend money in the in the hospital and all of that, and you're saying it's as little as that. You see constitutions for certain things. And why I'm saying so is that the growth of a country lies on its law and its constitution, and above all, upholding it. Where we keep talking about the rule of man and who is above the law in this country and all of that. For local government autonomy to thrive, there has to be a reconstituted constitution in this country, as far as I'm concerned. Because by virtue of everything put in place, our governors will not allow this to thrive. For selfish reasons, for personal reasons. Because if our local government should have autonomy, it gives them power, a lot. Because now it's not only because we've talked about it, and personally, I don't think I can ever go away from my thought for the local government needing its autonomy. But constitution governs things that succeed. Whatever is your fear, whatever is your concern, this is where I see we are lazy, Sele. This is where I see we don't want to work. I say we even supposed to have state laws and constitution. True. As a governor who wants to see your local government thrive, and you know that this autonomy will help them, whether we like, it's not all about you. Okay, what if you come and you are a fair governor, right? And you do give this local government their allocations. You make sure elections take place. You make sure that they thrive. But it's only for the 4 or 8 years period you are as a governor. And then the next governor is coming, whether or not it should happen or not. This is where I am looking forward to us growing past this level in Nigeria. Until we get to this point, I don't think we want to grow. I honestly don't think we want to grow. What are your concerns as a governor? Because everything has its advantage and disadvantage, of course. We can't just sit down and say local government autonomy is perfect. There won't be no disadvantage to it. No. You sit down and you come up with state laws to govern certain problems that you sense will be a problem in the future. And you say, if this should arise, you have lawmakers at the state level. What are they there for? What are they there for? Are they just to sit down and talk about senseless things and take allowance at the end of the day? When we have pressing issues in the state, whatever you sense in the future that this could be a problem, if this is given to the local government, this could be a problem, that could be a problem. You sit down, write state laws that will tackle it, and then you uphold it. Because whether we like it or not, local government autonomy is important. And it's not wrong for the federal government to sue the state governors. But the question is, do you have constitutions that will warrant for this thing to thrive? And the truth is that we don't have it. We don't have our federal constitution. We don't even have state laws and all of that to put all of that. There's so much work that needs to be done, Selen, and I'm not sure we are ready to put in that work, because if we are, we would have been growing as a country, Selen, but we're not growing at the pace or at the level we're supposed to, because we're neglecting a lot of things. There's so much work to be done. It's not just it's those tiny things, those things that you think are not a problem. If it will affect 100 people, then there should be a problem. There should be a law. There should be a solution for it. Even if it will affect one person, there should be something guiding and governing that thing to protect that one person. I think we fail to understand that, and that is why we just allow everything to just move. So do we need a revamp even when it comes to certain laws and constitution to allow this local government autonomy to thrive? Yes. It's high time we stop being selfish and begin to be selfless in our approach, in our thinking, because it's not just, Nigeria is going to be here for as long as the earth exists. I know there's a way of global warming, ecosystem. This is going to take hundreds and probably millions of years. We don't know how fast also the world is degrading. So we still permit me to use that word. We are just starting. Nigeria is just starting. We have hundreds of years to go. We have centuries to go, in my opinion. So we still have a long way to go. So let's stop being short-sighted. We're very myopic, in my opinion, in how we deal with governance in Nigeria. And until we stop being short-sighted, we are going to be stagnant or see very slow growth, or never grow eventually if we do not start doing the right things.
It's at this point, you can't help but ask the question, so at this point in time, who is to blame for the things that are happening presently? You rightly mentioned that, maybe it's the laziness of certain people that is making us to be where we are. But what does laziness, sometimes you just can't help but think. I mean, these had certain laws, and just like you said, maybe we should be able to have a law that make things mandatory. So whether it suits you or it doesn't suit you, you have to do it already. The federal government is saying, you know what, the court should make an order whereby even the funds that is supposed to be given to local government should not be released to the state governors, because we're saying that eventually the money doesn't even get to the local government as it should, or even if it gets, they tend to decide whether or not. And that is where I'll ask, what is our various House of Assemblies doing? What are the speakers doing? I mean, I just the Speaker, House of Representatives, House of Assembly, and then you cannot make decision. What are you doing as a speaker? Are you a yes sir kind of a speaker that you cannot stand and say, you know what, henceforth this is a bill that we need to look into and we must make sure that it stays? I keep going back to the fact that, you know what, they need to realize that they also have the power to even impeach a governor if you fail to do the right thing. We see what is happening in Rivers. I'm not advocating for more chaos and whatever, but we saw what the power that the House of Assembly over there in Rivers had, to the point that they had to frustrate the effort of the governor. It was February, he was saying that he got to actually the governance of Rivers State and all of that. So this is just to tell you that, you know what, the House of Assemblies have so much power.
They do.
There was a fight for even the autonomy of our judiciary. So very soon we hear the judiciary saying they don't have total autonomy as well. Even when it comes to financially, they hardly get there. Recently, we're seeing Abia State are doing back and forth whether or not 30,000 naira should be given. And I'm wondering, we're still talking about 30,000 naira minimum wage at a time that people are advocating for 70, 80, 100, and even 497, according to Labour. So these are some of the things, just like we said, we need a standing law. And we also need a body that will make sure, you know what, it's not about choice. It's about a must. You must follow this law. These are the way things need to be done. Until we do that, I mean, we'll keep seeing corruption creeping in. We'll keep seeing development not even coming up in our local government. Sometimes I go to some of our rural areas, there are no good roads there, no basic infrastructure, no facilities. The primary health care are just something you just can't help out. This are supposed to be primary health care, where you can get anything that you want, except it's beyond them. They are being referred to secondary or tertiary medical place. So I'm hoping, just like we said, let it just be beyond suing them, but let us see a standing law that will make sure that henceforth things should be done as it should be. Well, Rachel, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sally.
Thank you to our viewers. Thank you to also our supporters for making it out to watch Nigeria Now. Until we come tomorrow, do have a great day ahead.